Good morning, guys. How are we all doing? So Dan from Trading with Dan here. This is our Saturday morning Bitcoin update. So if you guys wouldn't mind smashing that like button, and we shall go straight over to those Bitcoin charts. So our cheeky little descending boarding wedge on this shorter time frame that we drew in yesterday. It looks like it has played out, or sort of played out, not quite played out yet. The target of a descending boarding wedge is basically the top of the formation, so that would indicate a target of just over 50,000. So yeah, so it is the weekend. We have got a bit of upward momentum. I don't really see any reason why we won't squeeze up to that just over 50,000, and then obviously the market will have to reassess at that point. Do we put in one of those infamous double tops? Not that you ever really see double tops happen that often. Normally you just continue onwards and upwards. Or do we just continue onwards and upwards? So a nice target being obviously this 53,000. But yeah, it is good to see this. We had obviously had a very clear downtrend in this short term. We did get support at the level we were eyeing. This is obviously the bullish case scenario, was to get supported here. Nice higher low, higher low relative to these higher lows, and well, now it is a case of, do we make that higher high? And yeah, I mean, this would be a pretty, obviously 50k is a pretty psychological important level. It is a level anyway, regardless. It wasn't drawn just because it was 50k. It was drawn just because of how it lined up. But then it may have lined up that way because it was 50k. But yeah, get above there, and I think we could actually have some nice price discovery, potentially even above this 53,000 level. Like I said, up to squeeze out this range up to potentially 58,000. We could maybe extend some horizontals that we've got in here longer for some more like mid targets, maybe, that we would hit instead. So maybe 55,000. Well, pretty much smack bang in the middle of 50 and 60k. But yeah, we could potentially have break this 52-53 wick up and get rejected there, and then trade some sideways. Or yeah, we could make it all the way up to our next macro level, which would be 58,500. So yeah, things potentially looking good. Obviously the flip side is we basically do put in a double top. We just play out this formation and then continue sideways and down, testing some of the lower levels. It wouldn't be the worst thing, but like I have been saying, I would like to see us establish a wider range, a higher top of the range, and then yeah, before we potentially play some sideways. So yeah, the Ethereum Satoshi parent, it also did have a similar, if we extend this down, a similar trend line. It wasn't necessarily a descending boarding wedge, but it had a similar downward sloping trend line, which we have had a break, our forward check, and then our back check. And are we now going to have a paycheck for this Ethereum onwards and upwards back through this resistance zone? All I will say is that there is some obviously Ethereum FUD going around with obviously the well, not obviously with some of the miners not updating their software. So yeah, they need to sort that out, and then we'll be okay. But yeah, obviously that could affect the hash rate a bit, but it's an easy fix, so I think that will get sorted. Yeah, obviously Ethereum could suffer with that, but it doesn't seem to be at the moment anyway. So maybe when that does clear, then yeah, then we can get this paycheck trade to the upside. Bitcoin dominance still hanging around there. We sort of got various altcoins taking the reins. Sol are doing extremely well at the moment. So yeah, Ethereum there or thereabouts, but yeah, other altcoins taking the reins. So yeah, at some point we will see a move from this level, be it to the upside or the downside. I mean, the more I look at it now, the more like I'm expecting a move up or down in Bitcoin, the more I think maybe we will get a pull back into, well, we could even get a pullback just up to this level, around 45.5, but yeah, maybe even 46. But 45.5 would be my initial, would be my favored pullback level, just purely on the basis it isn't as high as 46. But yeah, we could see a move up to there, or we could see the move down if we do basically just have a pop up to 52, 53, and then just come back down and trade sideways between there and 50k whilst we decide where we're gonna take it. Here's the DXY, nicely moving down as well. I mean, honestly, the US is a mess. The US politically, socially, is a mess. They're battling this problem now with just basic socialism. Like people should be able to not pay their rents. Landlords shouldn't be able to evict them. Basically, they're literally taking property rights away from people. Yeah, whatever your views are on that, that is what they're doing. They're taking people's property rights away from them. You can't basically kick someone out of your own property. They can live in your property for free. Basically, the state is saying it has control of your property and can decide what happens with it. And that is not good for the currency. It is not good for the confidence in just the US as a whole. So I have been talking about this rent moratorium as being one of the bigger things, because it's not just one thing that could cost a lot of money. It basically damages like the confidence and just in the US, like in much the same way what's going on in Afghanistan kind of like emboldens the US's enemies when they see like they can't really do a lot. Obviously, certain other countries making moves for certain other countries that they believe are part of their countries. But yeah, so yeah, there's a lot of things going on, and I do obviously understand it's relative to other countries. But like I'm saying, the eurozone is, because it is it is the eurozone, and they are separate countries. It is difficult for them to start to do crazy stuff like although like I said, in the US anyway, the Supreme Court has said it's illegal, and then Biden just does it anyway. So I mean, like, you could then argue, well, countries in the eurozone could just do whatever, even though Brussels doesn't want them to. But we are talking about the currency, and they can't just print a load more euros. They have to be given them by the ECB, or they have to those monetary policies have to stem from the ECB, not individual nation states. So that isn't the same in America. Yeah, so ultimately, you guys know my view on this. I'm bearish. We had a nice pullback. I am ultimately, like I said, looking for this to come basically down to these levels, basically just downwards, because I believe America is in its final stages of its exorbitant privilege of basically the world reserve currency. I mean, they're basically going socialism. They're doing wild stuff, and they are not looking too hot militarily either. So their ability to project power around the globe, and therefore enforce the use of their toilet paper currency is diminishing. So that is definitely enough talk on the DXY. Stock markets, just look at them. Look at that. Ludwig von Mises, Austrian School Economics, crack up boom. I mean, the world is falling apart, and basically the currency number only go up. So yeah, I mean, that is it. Basically, that is all that's going on here. Eventually, companies are going to have to revise down forward guidance for earnings, because they clearly ain't going to be earning what they're going to be earning, and yeah, things there are difficult times, but then the Fed will continue with its easing. Like they are at the Roach Motel. You can check out, but you can't leave. There is no going back. There is no going back for their policy. I mean, we've already proven that, because the QE started in 2008 and it hasn't ended. So there is clearly no going back. So we will see what sort of taper tantrums will ensue. And I mean, realistically, yeah, without going too deep, they're going to have to usher in some sort of something. And I think central bank cryptocurrencies are realistically their only good shot. But anything they do from this point just further exacerbates wealth inequality. Wealth inequality exacerbates basically social unrest, and social unrest is what you don't want. Is basically what all empires will fall from. So yes, let's have a look finally at gold. What is gold doing? Not a lot, just having a little move up here, basically on some of Jay Powell's Jackson Hole comments and quotes, but yeah, still a significant laggard on other assets such as maybe Bitcoin that you could be looking at as a sort of safe haven, or basically an alternative form of money. So stochastics, let's look at those stochastics. 4 hour did what we suspected it could have done yesterday, and that is basically got us through that level up towards 50,000, above that 48,000, which it did. If we have a look at the 10 and the 12 hour, they turning back up now from a extremely low read and got plenty of room to run and can get us up to that nice 52 to 53,000 level. They certainly are. The 10 hour is looking good. 12 hour is turning up, a potential of sorts of a trend line you can see getting supported by. So if this gets going, yeah, 53 plus thousand Bitcoin we're going to be looking at. Daily still coming down, but obviously if we do make that move with 50,000, it will basically turn up. 2 day as well, holding up there. 3 days still holding up there. 5 day still up there. Weekly looking absolutely amazing. Bi-weekly it has turned back up, and had a little look at the monthly. We will get a new tick on this anyway next week, so hopefully that will tick us up, and we shall see, and that will be looking good as well. But realistically, these stochastics have had an extremely nice looking bullish reset. We are back at this 50,000 for the second time of asking. We have put in a very juicy looking higher low, and realistically that the higher on the balance of probabilities, you have to assume we are going up. Obviously everything is probabilities, and this is trading, everything is probabilities. But yeah, basically the risk is to the upside. The risk is we do get a move up, and then it's a case of how high do we blast through this level? Do we get up into this zone? What happens? We shall see. And it is the weekend, so I would not be surprised. The past few weekends they push price up. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a push above 50,000 towards 52, 53 over this weekend, then get a pullback on Sunday evening, Monday towards the 50,000, and then we can get a move back into the mid 50,000s. That would be my guess. Clearly as a guess, anything can happen. But yeah, there we go, guys. Remember, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Always do your own research, and I shall speak to you guys soon.